Hey, everybody, and welcome to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. I am Eric. We are continuing with our 12-year-old whiskeys here in the 12th month of the year, December 2020. On the bar for today, Mortlach, 12 years old, the wee Witchie. As always here on the channel, nose taste finish review of this whiskey. I'll tell you a bit about the value, give you final thoughts, final score, leave you with a malt musing. But first, a bit about Mortlach and this wee Witchie. So, Mortlach Distillery, located in the Speyside region of Scotland, and recently did a bit of rebranding. And this is what the bottle is looking like of the newer 12-year-old wee Witchie, been around for a year or two. Here's what it's got to say. On the bottle, 2.81 distilled, 43.4% ABV, an ode to the still that bears, quote, the beast of Dufftown. There you go. No mention on here about chill filtration or natural color. So unfortunately, we will assume that they have both chill filtered and natural and added color to this. But the box, I have to give them some respect for. In addition to their kind of interesting presentation of the flat face bottle, they do give you quite an elaborate tasting notes thing, which we will omit from this review, but it says here, utilizing a fiendishly complex distillation process. Unlike any other, 3 wash stills and 3 spirit stills, each unique in shape and size, still cut and distill again precisely 2.81 times to create the distinctive and rich, bold character of Mortlach. And they have a nice graphic of the, convoluted system that they use. On the back, some interesting information about Mortlach. They've been around since 1896, doing their distillation in this 2.81 times process. Dedicate this 12-year-old whiskey to the still that bears the beast. It has been matured in both European and American oak to enhance the distinctively rich and robust character that makes Mortlach whiskeys legendary. So this is a combination of ex-bourbon, ex-sherry. No mention here on the box either about chill filtration or natural color, so we can assume that they have chill filtered this and have added coloring. Okay, enough about that. Let's get this Mortlach in the glass, see what we are working with. Okay. All right. Here is what the color looks like. Again, we're going to assume that this has had some color added to it. Okay, let's get into the nose, y'all. Musty, bit of cinnamon, bit of chocolate. There's almost like a generic meaty note to this, like umami. Has a decent amount of depth. Bit of ginger, maybe even some pepper notes. Yeah, we're getting some bitter, some sour, and then there's a little sweetness behind it, which I want to say is like berries of some sort, maybe blueberry, maybe cherry as well. All in all, pretty even keel nose here. I think the spice is what's kicking it up the most. Okay, let's go in for a taste, y'all. So much. Arrives the medium viscosity. Immediately, it's bourbon notes. I want to say brown sugar, vanilla kind of dominate. As it develops, you do get some cherry and some chocolate. Again, also that like slight ginger note, not quite as sharp as like a citrus. And it's mouth-watering as it goes into the finish, which is very drying. Again, that kind of like meaty, robust quality. Definitely playing in here. Finish is around medium, again, very drying. There's a slight hint of cocoa, a little bit of like malted milk ball, maybe a slight dab of Demura sugar, maybe also some honey. Interesting. Okay, let's put some water on this. 43.4%, just a drop or two. All right. With water. Getting much more vanilla now. It's nice. I quite enjoy the nose of this. Decent amount of complexity. There's some cinnamon. Again, some more spice coming through. God, that cherry note. Not like a maraschino cherry. This is more of like a dark black cherry. Maybe even overripe. There's also some pear. Maybe just a slight herbal note too. This is interesting. This has a lot of complexity actually on the nose. Okay, another taste. Arrives a little bit flatter with water. Chocolate, cherry, like cordial cherries. There's a bit of that drying cinnamon, and then it really does go into a very tannic drying finish with water. This actually, I think, was a little bit better neat. There's that honey note coming through at the end, and again, that kind of mouth-watering, again, meaty texture. Nothing in particular, but it's just kind of like a generalized meaty note to it. It's got some heft. Yeah, there's a little bit of malted milk ball coming in now too. Okay. So if you're looking for a bottle of Mortlach 12, here in the United States, $55. Not an exorbitantly high price, especially these days for a 12-year-old malt. I would say that this is not a introductory whiskey by any stretch. This has got some interesting complexity and honestly is quite different than most whiskeys you will try. So value-wise, I'm putting this around medium. I think this is a fair price for what you're getting here. Okay, final thoughts on the Mortlach. I'm going to premise this by saying when I originally opened this bottle, I did not enjoy it much at all. I found that this kind of mouth-watering, mealy umami note was very dominant and made the other flavors quite flat. As you can see, I put some work into this one. I do think this has gotten better with oxidization. However, there is nothing very bold or popping out of the glass with this one. It is still a relatively subtle whiskey, and the structure of it itself, I feel like, is not super accessible to folks. You would really have to like something like this. Again, this kind of musty umami flavor that's coming through here does set this apart from a lot of 12-year-olds. However, you know, relatively short, medium finish, not a lot of really interesting notes coming through in terms of what's bold and assertive. I do think the addition of that kind of, again, umami note is what makes this unique. All in all, I would be very interested in trying an older version of a Mortlach just to kind of get my bearings on it a bit more. But as far as this 12 goes, at around $55, if you're looking for a nice ex-bourbon, ex-sherry whiskey, this isn't one I would recommend. This is one that you're really going to have to get your bearings on and make sure this is something you like before you're going to invest the money. So my final score here on the Mortlach 12, I think it's a decent start to their range and definitely makes me want to check out some other stuff, but this one doesn't quite do it for me. I'm going to give this a solid 2.75 out of 5, which means I do recommend you try this before you buy it. And with that, I'm going to kick you over to your malt musing. If you haven't yet, do hit subscribe. That will make sure you don't miss any of my reviews, which come out every Friday. And of course, the notifications for the happy hour, which is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay, with that, I'll send you your malt musing. We'll catch you next week for another 12-year-old whiskey here in the 12th month of 2020. And Salancheva.